region there now. I mean, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. You can get all these things so easy. So people don't need to bother, because what is our focus? Do we want more investors to come? And because these people, they focus more on investors and on visitors to come to their country, because they promote tourism. Right now, you see tourism being promoted in Rwanda in a different way. They have conference tourism. So what are the focus? Before we look at all these things, they are good on paper. I've always said that. But what are the focus? What is the content of this? Where do you want to go from
which
there?
is why, which is what's leading me to this question I want to ask. When I said by what parameters, content or title, economic, the roadmap, the budget's called Budget of Recovery. The economic growth, recovery and growth plan is supposed to help us move between 2017 and 2020.
Yes.
But let's come now. Within that period, let me just read out some here. To increase the GDP ratio from the current rate of 6% to 15%. That's one of the highlights of the ERGP. This implies earning over 10 trillion naira in taxes annually, up from the annual average of 4 trillion naira in the last 5 years in terms of taxes. But if you're looking at that, so let's say we're earning 10 trillion in taxes annually, does the budget, the 2017 budget, which is like the first budget that's going into that plan, supposedly to fund that plan, can the budget as it is, as we see it now, deliver in this first phase?
Well, let me tell you, it's difficult to tell you whether it can deliver or not. It depends on the implementation, number one. We have always had budget. Well, how do we implement it? We have to have a performance index to really know what are we doing, how far are we going, and what is the implementation. And what is it? When you say you want to have this, what are you going to tax? We have to begin to categorize these taxes. If you want to boost your GDP or you want to boost your economy, there are some certain areas whereby the investors have to even be encouraged with lesser taxes. And then if you tax them so high because you want to increase your growth, there are chances that you might have unemployment as well, because the investors want to have return on their investment. So we have to begin to look at what area are we going to bring taxes. And you see, if you look at some other countries that have come out of that have just gone out of recession at one time or the other, even in China, you discover that the fiscal policy, the fiscal stimulus, and some of these things have to be increased. Look at what's going on right now in China. They have these one road, one belt. It's a deliberate attempt, for China to begin to say, look, we want to expand, we want to really do something, we want to make money, we want to have this that will make us to be a strong power to be. Is Nigeria having that plan as well? In these, like you see, I've not been able to find the breakdown. You just have a Ministry of Work having a certain percentage of the budget, and we don't have the nitty-gritty. How is it going to be spent? What is the priority? Is our priority going to be on infrastructure? Yes, everybody say infrastructure. Which? Now, you see the technological advancement. Are we going to invest in technology? Yes. If you want to invest, how do you do that without the power being in place? So the major problem, whatever we want to achieve with any of this plan so far, I think we need to seriously look into the energy sector. The energy sector is a critical thing on an infrastructure plan. So unless we begin to say, okay, this is what we've been talking about, energy mix for a long time. And I'm not saying what are we going to invest on this energy mix, the solar, and so a lot of things are being looked into that have not been captured, or maybe that has been captured that I cannot find the breakdown in some of these things. And I just look at it and say, listen, we want to have this economic growth, yes, but we have the people to do it, and just that we have to begin to see the monitoring and the implementation of the monitoring to be able to get this. It is too early for us now to begin to judge, but we are seeing it that the vice president, the current acting president, is in for it and is ready to tackle it headlong.
Okay. Mr. Kyari, let me just rewind a bit to the 10 trillion expected in taxes. How exactly is Nigeria planning to raise 10 trillion in taxes?
I believe as a country, we do have to look at the structure of the economy and how and what things happen. For example, we can come right home, since both of us live in Lagos, when in 1999, Lagos state government was collecting around 600-700 million monthly on IGR, which is literally the taxes that Lagos is collecting or generating internally. Today, it is multiples of that. And the growth rate, if you look at it, is probably over 20 or 30% in annual average growth rate of the recollections of revenue. And if you bring the same kind of disposition at the federal level, there is no reason why you cannot grow the non-oil receipt, which today is around 2 trillion, I believe. I think it's around 1.8 trillion or thereabouts. Now, if you focus on that, the only thing is that there has to be certain things that need to happen. The enabling environment need to be established. So those starts that have started to be pushed by the acting president would result in tax receipts increasing, believe it or not, because the velocity of transactions would now begin to be faster, and therefore more and more people outside of Nigeria would rather come and do business with us or in Nigeria. And the internal businesses that have been hampered would now begin to also be unleashed. And so those level of productivity that would happen primarily in the private sector, and obviously, of course, blocking of leakages and efficient manner of revenue collections would result in those growth. I think it is good to put yourself a tough target, such as 10 trillion. If you miss and land on 8 trillion, you still succeeded.
Interesting.
You see that another way you look at it, if this PIB is looked into, negative says that Nigeria is losing 3 trillion annually. So if you look at that since 2013, and if you are looking at that, losing that kind of amount of money in 3 years, that will have given us even 9 trillion. I mean, so there are a lot of ways which Nigeria can actually raise money if we can do the right thing. And the thing is, raising taxes, yes, there are a lot of ways we can raise taxes and bring this into, but I just want the taxes being raised in Lagos, the way it was done in Lagos, fantastic. We have same people now at the federal level to do that. But the concern is, if we have to be clearer with it, you know, taxes we have to understand it clearly. You know, we have to encourage the people to pay taxes. That's number one. And if you are increasing taxes at the same time, we have to make sure people understand why we're increasing these taxes. If you look at, for instance, in Germany, taxes were being raised from 13% to 19%, from 13 gradually, from 13 to 17, from 17 to 19. It has to be gradual, and people have to be educated on why we're doing this. We cannot just say we want to increase taxes overnight, but I think we have to educate the people, and we have to do it gradually. That will give the people the convenience to say, yes, I believe in this.
But Joe, it's not just about raising taxes. There are many people in Nigeria who do not pay taxes. Should we be talking about broadening the tax net as opposed to raising the taxes of those you already have who are paying taxes?
Yes, that is why I'm saying that there must be education. You know, we have to have a kind
of
tax
education. There are fewer paying than
yes.
there are.
We can. It's just like when you see, like I keep referring to this German experience. You know, there was a time most Germans were running to Luxembourg and some other places, Switzerland, to go and, you know, hide their money. And what the government did was, okay, we give you 100 days or 3 months, and say, okay, bring back that, and we give you a kind of tax holiday or tax rebate, so that you will not be arrested and be prosecuted. Some people responded initially, even Switzerland, and the countries where they've been, you know, taking their money to, they didn't cooperate, and the government began to buy that and say, look, they buy the CD from the banks and begin to, you know, track the people who are